anyone's been to like some of these talks before by designers, yeah, sorry, I'm doing like slide bingo. So like, you know I'm a designer because here's a freaking hello slide set in a geometric sans serif on black. My name's Martin Farrar-Smith and I'm a designer. So yeah, like I said, I've been in industry like 15 years. I studied at the University of Huddersfield. I actually did advertising and just sort of stumbled into design because my mate was at a job. He'd started as PR manager at somewhere and he was like, oh, you should hire my mate, he's really good. And it was my end of year show, so they came and thought my work was shit, but they needed a designer, so they got me in because I was young and raw and they could mould me. So yeah, but obviously coming from an advertising background, I'd do more than just design, and I've sort of like brought in different sort of skill sets. So I'm also a copywriter, a retoucher, art worker, traffic manager, typesetter, brand strategist. I'm a jazzer-upper. This is one of the great ones. It's like, have you just got a bit of time to jazz this up? yeah, I can do that. And then my all-time favourite, I'm in computers. Like, this is what my parents think I do. It's like, you're in computers, aren't you? No, I'm not. And then you try and explain to them. So you say like, I have this all the time. So I was in a taxi. I'm going somewhere, and it's like, oh, so what do you do? Like, fuck. I'm a designer. What, like websites? No, it's a bit more than that. I work with brands and work with brands that try to change the world and develop like brand strategies and like brand guidelines, blah 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 blah. And you just sort of like go off and then you just go, so yeah, like websites. So a bit about me. I like M dashes and Simpsons memes. I just think they're neat. I've wrote some shit and it ended up in The Guardian. I wrote some more shit and it ended up in Creative Review, to which, when I shared it, Ollie Moss, who designs really, really cool posters, and Tom Muller, who's just designed all of the X-Men titles, and does all the covers for Marvel, called me Man Who Yells at Cloud, which was great. It was a piece on nostalgia. Google it. It's all right. I've written radio ads that ended up on TalkSport, being voiced by Finchy from The Office. It just sort of happened. I did it as a pitch for a brand, and they were like, yeah, you need to do a radio ad as well. So, all right, so it'll kind of work like this, and then you just do it, and then they do it, and then it turns up on TalkSport, and you're like, did no one proof it? I'm like, oh yeah, we're fine. It wasn't. And also, for the past 9 years, I've had my work featured on the BBC. Sorta. So I've got 3 kids, and every year I send a birthday card to CBeebies, and it's on the BBC. Look, there's a BBC logo right up there. That's the BBC. BBC designer. Me. To be fair, I think I've raised the standard of birthday cards on the CBeebies, because it used to be they'd just get kids to do them. We'd cut best. I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to get Photoshop on this. Get my colour guides out, just like Arietta is 6, boom! So yeah. But anyway, it's fast back. That's me in 2005. This is me, my first job. I did that illustration in the background as well. Shit. So I started working for a company called Manifest in 2005. We were based in Huddersfield. I worked there for 10 years before jumping ship to another agency called Manifest. After that, Manifest rebranded to Ilk. They're based at Leeds Docks. It's really long, it's boring, it's complicated, there's legal ramifications and all that bollocks, but if you want to know more, I can tell you later. So yeah, I work at Manifest London, the world's first global small agency. We have offices in New York, Stockholm, London, and soon to be Manchester. I am a director there, which is pretty cool. I've worked alongside my best mate, who's the CEO and founder of Manifest London, Alex Myers, which basically want to create an agency that we dreamt about running in high school. We're a brand communications agency built for a purpose-driven era, because in a world developed by experiences, it's not enough for brands simply to stand for something, they need to stand up for something. So we build brands that change the world, and it's a very, very lofty sort of statement to say, but it's actually kind of true. So like we work in PR, social, brand strategy, and we've worked with WWF, Greenpeace, Virgin Atlantic, Samsung, Logitech. Smaller brands like Hot Octopus, whose mission is to change the stigma around masturbation, so they make male sex toys. I haven't tried any. Maybe one. It was research for their website and for the photo shoot. We work with a company called Offset Earth, who are building protest forests in reaction to the Amazon fires. We also create brands, like we've got a brand called Raws, that are a Swedish brand offering sustainable alternatives to plastic straws. We also made Brewdog and craft beer a thing back in 2010 or something like that. So we started working with them in 2010, did some really crazy shit. Stopped working with them, stopped working with them again. I'm not going to go into all that because it's just, yeah. So I've only got 15 minutes, fuck. So anyway, here's what I've learned after almost 15 years working in kind of sort of one agency, sort of two agencies. Legally, I have to say 3, or I did at one point. Again, I won't go into it. But first, something that I got told before I even started uni was, this is the best piece of advice I ever got given. Because I had really no idea what I was doing, because the high school I went to was a bit shit, and I kind of wanted to get into design, but I didn't really know how to. So I kind of went around universities and interviewed, and my work was really rubbish, and they were like, you need to go and do a foundation course. I'm like, what's one of them? But anyway, but this guy said, looking at my work, he was like, you need to find a hero, you need to like decide what sort of designer you want to be, or creative you want to be, like what kind of work excites you. So he was showing me all this David Carson stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. And it was like, yeah, David Carson. But for me, I was really interested in stuff by John Yates, Winston Smith, who were, they did loads of like punk album covers for Alternative Tentacles. Winston Smith also did a cover for Green Day, did the Insomniac cover. Really detailed, used like retro cut and paste graphics, which is really cool. And then when I got more and more into design, I just had real bonus for Build, Non-Format, Dixon Baxi, and Pentagram. Build are just incredible. Non-Format did, they used to do the editorial work on The Wire magazine, which was just some of the most amazing typographic experimentation I've ever seen. Dixon Baxi's work for MTV2, this is so old, but it's still one of the greatest things I'd ever seen, so I was just like, what is this? But they also did all the Premier League motion graphics and stuff like that. And then Pentagram did the logo for the Children's Museum in Halifax called Eureka, and it's never changed, and it's fucking awesome. And basically anything Pentagram do, and if they get bawled out by anyone on Twitter, I'm just like, no, they did the Eureka logo, leave them alone. They're amazing. So anyway, rule number 1, first thing I learned, don't be a dickhead. And again, slide bingo, a lot of people talk about it. Eric Speakman, obviously in that first talk, is like, don't work for assholes, don't be an asshole. It's like, yeah, but when the VW logo came out, Eric, you're a bit of an asshole. But yeah, don't be a dickhead. But the reason I put that is because I used to be a dickhead. I was a right dickhead when I started work, because the agency that we had, there were more than one designer, and whenever we had a pitch, there were pitches, but like everyone against each other, and so it brought in this like really horrible competitive streak in me, and I was like, I can laugh now in hindsight, but at the time I was just like, what a dick. I would have hated to work with me like back in 2007. I'd have kicked the shit. No, I wouldn't have kicked the shit. I can't kick the shit out of anyone. Yeah, don't be a dickhead. Trust your fucking gut, because 9 times out of 10, you'll be right. Like I remember, like I do a lot of like design work and stuff, and you kind of know. Like the more you do it, the more you'll get to know it as well, because like you'll get to know the clients that you work with and all that sort of stuff, and you'll know what they like. And sometimes you'll kind of thrash something out, and you're like, oh, be all right. But then in the back of your mind, you'll think it's going to come back, and there's going to be a shitload of amends. And then only if you'd have just like emailed and said, do you know what, we're in a bit short of time, give us a couple more days, we'll nail it. And you sort yourself out. Also, listen to your wife or husband, boyfriend. anyone who's not in design, so like get second opinions on stuff. Again, like the client stuff, they'll have a better idea. You can get very like sort of tunnel vision when you're working on something and think that it's the best thing in the world, but then someone will look at it and go, no, it's shit. Big one at the moment for me, working from home is great, but it is not for everyone. I've been working from home for like 3 years now, so the agency that I work for is based in London, but because my mate's the CEO, he lets me work from Halifax, and I go down like 2 times a month, and it's okay, but recently it's been like deep focus days do not happen, and work kind of finishes for me at 3 because I've got 3 kids and they come home from school and then clocked out. So my house turns into that. Like, that's my desk in the kitchen because I've got an office, but it's a bit pokey. So I use the kitchen table because it's nice and big and I spread myself out. But then the kids come and they're like, I want to do some drawing with Daddy and I want to do this. And it's just like, yeah, that was on my birthday as well. Make it personal, make your work personal, pour yourself into it. This is something that I don't know if everyone does it, but I definitely do it. I really like sort of adding a personal twist into work that I do. I'm going to just like show like a bit old. It's old, but it kind of illustrates it better. I like adding little Easter eggs and in-jokes, and some people get them, some people don't. But sometimes, like I said, I'm a big Simpsons fan. Like I'm massive into movies and stuff. I really like in-jokes and stuff. And so this is a really old project. It's called Sales Gossip. I'm kind of putting this in because it's October 3rd. And in a set of brand guidelines, I managed to get the phrase, "We will not make fetch happen." So I was just like, it's a win, man, Mean Girls. So yeah, for this one, I actually used a lot of Mean Girls references, a lot of pop culture references, because it was right for the brand, but I was like totally into it. And I kind of did the same with a coffee brand called Grumpy Mule. We had to like really deep dive. It was the brand, everyone really liked the brand, but the old logo was a bit shit. And so we ended up writing a story about a donkey. And it gave us this character for the donkey, and then we were like, well, what if it's... Basically, like, we created a donkey who was kind of like Travis Bickle for coffee, but then lightened it up. And I managed to get a Friends reference on the packaging about cat in Mississippi. So, and someone tweeted about it and noticed it, and I was like, yay! So yeah, like, I kind of have a style. You can kind of, like, when you go through my work, you can always, like, when I left Manifest in Leeds, the kind of thing, there was always a Farrar option, and it was always just the weird one, just the mental one that was like, well, you could do this, or you could do this, and that was mine. Just like, what the fuck is he on? So yeah, make your work personal, but don't take it personally when someone doesn't like it, because you're going to put a lot of effort into stuff, and you need a bit of thick skin, especially if you're going to start putting your work out on social media and stuff. And if you get the chance to work on large-scale projects and you are lucky enough to have it on Brand New or BP&O or any of those websites that review things, they're going to critique it. People in the comments are going to go, oh, that font's shit and your kerning's right off and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, don't listen to them. Like, you like it. It's fine, innit? I mean, like, it's been touched upon already, but, like, get writing. Like, I really, like, instead of like designing straight away, I always like to write about brands first, because it kind of gets me going. I really like writing. I like copywriting. I'm not an amazing copywriter, but I can do a job, you know. I've had radio ads on TalkSport. And so Rose was one of the brands that we did quite a bit of writing for. We were really trying to come up with a name for this sustainable. It was called Straw Buddy. But he wanted something that was a little bit, you know, better than that. Something that was a bit more disruptive, because with the work that we used to do for Brewdog, we were known as a disruptive agency. So we came up with raws, because straws are unsustainable and unnatural, but raws are sustainable and natural. And we were just like, that's pretty cool, and we can use that graphic pretty much anywhere. That'll do. And we were like, no more plastic coating it. And it's just like, we had like real, like this is a brand that we're not really getting paid properly for it. We get paid in equity. So as part of a venture through Manifest, we give them our time, and then eventually we'll sell our shares in the thing and get some sweet kickbacks. But yeah, it's a really cool, fun thing. We kind of like plastic fucking sucks and suck less, straw that doesn't suck, all sorts, you know. We love puns. Puns are the best. Social media is a tool, not a weapon, although the people on social media are kind of both of those things. So like, I don't really use Instagram much because it just depresses me. I follow 3 of the most toxic Twitters going, so Liverpool Football Club, Design Twitter, and RuPaul's Drag Race Twitter. And it's just when something is wrong in one of those Twitters, fucking grab your tin hat and cower, because it's all going to go wrong. There's a really good article on Forge by Medium, it's a Medium publication, about how you can use Twitter to promote yourself. And I'm trying to think of the right metaphor for it, but it's basically like a fucking bank job. Just get in, do what you need to do, get the fuck out, don't make any eye contact, which is about right. Like, I remember when Twitter was good, and I used to like get Christmas cards from people I followed, and it was woo, and now it's just like woo. Which brings me on to my next point. Label your layers in your PSDs, or don't. I'm a designer, not a cop. You get paid for your ideas, not your file structure. And yeah, if someone's gonna, if you're designing a website and you send it to someone and they're like, fucking hell, this is a right mess, they might ask you to redo it, but like find out how they want it first. Like you're getting paid to just do like the good shit. Don't shame people, you know, or if you're the developer and you get like a shitty file, or you got someone else's PSD and it's a right mess, don't go to social media and do this. So this dropped like a couple of days ago, and oh my god, like I recently inspected a sketch file from a celeb designer, and it was shockingly bad. It was like he was unaware of any UI best practices from the last decade. No grid, no symbols, no color palettes spelled wrong, no layer, folder naming, no pinning, and much more. You would all know his name. I didn't actually know his name. I found it out a bit earlier. I was like, no, I don't know who that is. But God help this guy if he ever wants to know how sausages are made, because he's going to have a right fucking shock. He's like, oh, it's the sausage fairies. Oh, what are they doing to that animal? Be more Joaquin. Like, this is how people work. This is how designers work. Like, it's not this. Like, it's like this. What pissed me off about this guy, and I'm sorry, I'm going on about it. I didn't really want to go on about it, but it's not about like this celeb designer being lazy and not doing like a proper handover. It's this dude being the first thing that he wants to do is run to Twitter and tell everyone that this designer's done a bad job. And I think he got called out. So the guy who actually did that file was just like, oh yeah, my bad. And then the other guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's a really good design though. And he's like, yeah, stop trying to do your 3 a.m. whispers. Not having it. So yeah. It's okay to not know what you're doing. You know, case in point, I'm right here. The fun comes in learning, in trying out new software, just new way to do things. No one really sort of knows. Like my best mate, the CEO, he'll always say in every meeting, like, we're just making this up as we go along. Because really, you try something, it might not work out. I'm not one of those advocates for failure. Like, it seems to be a big thing. It's like, failure's fine. It's like, well, it's not, but like, as long as you can learn something in it, then it kind of is cool. Embrace chaos, or at least expect chaos, because things never go as they should. And as much as you try and plan stuff, you need a bit of wiggle room in case something mental happens. You know, like, due to flooding, we might be losing? The spelling's atrocious, I'm sorry, I'm going to call her out on it. David Lindsay's a speaker, but MFS, did you remember, do I remember you had a talk ready about being in agency for 10 years you might be able to do? This is Tuesday. Yeah, what's the theme again? The pot noodle one? I might be able to knock some up. That's autocorrect, by the way, I wouldn't have ever spelt it like that. Yeah, your pot noodle theme. That was mine. Yeah, so now you have to do a talk, like, if you want an insight into our Glug Slack, it's like, I have no idea what's going on a daily basis. Second to last, I think this says, make time for yourself. Fuck burnout culture. When I first started designing, I used to really like doing late nights. I thought they were really cool, because you'd get a Domino's, I get paid overtime, and it was kind of cool. But I was 25. I tried staying up till 11 the other night. I'm fucking knackered. It's really hard, and you can't. It's just. Is that good? I don't know if that's good anymore. So yeah, if you want to do it, and this is the thing, just do what you want, man. It's like you want to be paid. If you want to be a creative, a designer, an illustrator, you're getting paid to do what you love. I mean, it's a dangerous thing, doing what you love. It's very really dangerous, because corporate culture will suck the life out of any joy that you have in anything that you do. But if you can find something, if you can get the right clients and get the right mix of clients and do the side hustles and stuff and get some dollar, then more power to you. And lastly, just keep inspired. Just get reading, listen to stuff, surround yourself with good people, come to a Glug, preferably when I'm not talking. So I've got a few lists of just some stuff that's really cool. So books, nudge theory is really good. Behavioral economics is a really cool thing. The movie The Big Short, I think it was, with Christian Bale, it's all based on that stuff. It's really cool. Branding in 5.5 Steps by Michael Johnson from Johnson Banks. The book Love Song by Non-Format is just beautiful. It's just one of my favourite books. For resources, you probably know all these anyway, but these are my favourites. 99 News, really helpful. Brand New is great for all the critiques of new logos. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe it's the British person in me that you like to see a really big one just get ripped apart. But the comment sections are always funny. As long as it's not your work, then you can always be like, everyone's having a go about that designer. BPO is a bit like Brand New, but he's a bit more like Wordsworth. It's a bit posher. I tried to get some work on there. He wasn't having any of it. It wasn't posh enough for him. I'd not done all my floaty angles and shit. Site Inspire for websites. Forge, Medium Publications, really good as well. What else? Podcasts, Working File, RuPaul, What the Tea with Michelle Visage, because you don't need to listen to creative stuff all the time. And RuPaul has some great shit anyway. Fresh Meat, the Manifest podcast. Find it on Spotify and on iTunes. It's pretty good. The guy who hosts it, silky smooth voice, Julie No Boo Boo. And the TED Talk by Simon Sinek, Finding the Why. It's old as hell, but it's proper useful. And then, follow these dudes as well. They're really cool. Mike Sullivan got into a big argument with that guy who was calling out the designer, and he does that a lot. But he's a lovely bloke. Jackal Ellison works for an amazing agency in Brooklyn, and they're global, called Huge, because they are massive. Daniel Bennyworth-Gray, he does book covers, and he's just a really good tweeter. And Chris Doyle and company. I had the pleasure of seeing Chris Doyle at the Brand New conference in New York last year, and it was the greatest talk I've ever seen. He did it was 9 o'clock in the morning, and everyone's just bleary-eyed, and he just smashed it. He's just amazing. And that's me. Thanks. And there's our work and stuff.